Hey Geneva, so I downloaded your project and I'm going to, where the heck are we? Oh, okay, we're in the right place. Okay, so we're gonna kind of go through here and I'll do as much as I can to help you within the 10 minutes that I have for this video. So I played the Swift file that you created and it's just kind of glitchy and moving all over the place. So let's go through these a couple of times. So I'm looking for little A's to see what kind of text. So right now you don't have anything on here that is an input container, so we can get rid of this on frame 1 of the play button layer. And if we get rid of all those lines, it'll take that little A away. So I'm not sure what this layer looks empty, so you might have been still building stuff, but we've got the good intro and you have this finished spot right here where you stop it. And now when you stop it, it needs to have some function for this BTN start. So in the library, see how you have play BTN, or no, where's start BTN, BTN start. Okay, that makes sense. So as long as they're not the exact same, so as long as they're not the exact same thing. So let's go here and let's click on that and window, code snippets, action script, timeline, click to go to frame and stop. So we can add that for that button and it's going to add that in there, and then you can choose to get rid of this kind of instructional text. Just make sure you take it all. And so put the instance name in here and it says when it goes blah blah blah, it needs to go to and stop on either frame 71 or, well, all right, you got all these button stop, button start, button whatever. So I assume this is where you want them to jump to, and you have 2 frame labels on here. So it's just a matter of, I think you were trying to add it everywhere. So let's get rid of it on the places we don't need it. So get rid of it there. Get rid of it, Command A and delete to get rid of it there. So we'll get rid of all those A's. Now if we wanted this one to be there, so it's kind of more in a stable place, then that's absolutely okay. And then we want it to jump over here. So over here we got to get rid of, see that has a little A on the instructions button, frame 86. So we're going to delete all of that. And then we have 2 frame labels called name, and it's going to get confused because it can only jump to 1. So let's see. This is the instructions page, except for why. So it's the instructions button. Okay. And that includes not just the button, but the input. And then the question. What is your name? Input name. So, and then you can put the instructions on its own layer, and then it's got this weird little thing that we can delete. Okay. So this is basically the page called enter your name. So enter name. Okay. Or we can call this, let's call this name screen. This is where they give us their name. So back over here, we're basically saying we want them to stop here. When the button start is clicked, we want them to go to that particular frame label. So we're going to put quote, quote instead of the 5. And we could have put, whatever frame number this is, 86. But we don't want to have to always try and find the frame number. And if we move things around, that causes a problem. So we're going to come in here and say jump to whatever is called name screen. So it's going to jump over here. And since this only has 1 flag called name screen, it's going to jump to that particular frame that has that flag. Okay, so on this name screen, let's look at this input. So this is where you have username. And let's look at your script. So we need to have a stop action here. So we can stop at that particular point. And let's see. I might not have put that on there. I think maybe I assumed. But see how it says click to go to? I don't know. You can't see that. See how it says click to go to and stop at frame? So back here, if it says click to go to and stop at frame, then you don't necessarily need a stop action. So just know if you ever need it to stop, put that stop action in there. So we're defining my name and we're saying button instructions should listen for a click and it should go to and stop at, I assume this is the instructions. So again, we have too many frame labels and then we have this action script all over the place. I'm gonna cut this and put it here just in case, because I think you just had it in the wrong spot. So all right, so back over here, we have instructions, but it's the same exact thing. So we're gonna clear keyframe and we're gonna have just this variable string, go to and stop, username, lowercase u, uppercase N. So I think this is right. We just need this to instead of going to frame 120 to go to frame label called play. All right, so once this is clicked, now it will jump over here where we can start defining some stuff. So this is where, let's see, I just deleted that. So I'm gonna delete these instructions just for simplicity's sake. All right. All right, so see how you have two button plays in here and one's going to frame 5 and one's going to 145. So I think that's just what was happening in that instance. And then you have this weird thing in the background, so we're gonna get that off. So btn play, we're gonna want that to go to wherever your play screen is. So I think it's when you were gonna put it over here, probably at frame 146, but this is when, if you create the actual game here, you need to add another label, just one, on that frame number that says like play game. So this one isn't necessarily the play, this is the instruction screen. So even though the play button's on here, it's because it's taking us to the play screen. So this is where we probably want to fix this and say instructions screen, because this label is where we put the instructions. So I don't know, this has got, you got like a, I'm gonna delete this all. Sorry, people are talking in the hallway and I forgot to shut the door. So we don't have a lot of time left, so hopefully this is making sense and just cleaning this up. So we want it to go to frame 145, which is where this is, but we actually want to use the frame label. So that will be the actual play game label. So we need to jump back here and say, when instructions is clicked, it's going to take us to the instructions screen. Has to be exactly the same. So over here, let's say we have the play game and we have it here. So F6 to add a new blank keyframe, and we're going to call this play screen. Okay, so back over here, we're going to make sure this is going to the play screen. Play screen. All right, so let's look at what we've got. What we've got going on here, instructions user. All right, so instructions user, and we have to make sure it's capitalized, right? And it should be a text and then equals, and then you put your own welcome space, my name, which is good, and then it has the exclamation point. You have put blah 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 blah. That's awesome. And then, so you don't have to have two names if you don't want to. I just overdid it in there because usually people ask me if they can add a person's name twice. So that looks really good. So, and by the way, there's a way to make this so that you can wrap it. What is it? Format, find, insert, pin, format code, oh, whatever. So anyway, this should work. And then when you're on your play screen, you can do the drag and drop game. So you can watch the rest of the video in terms of having to drag and drop. So I think the only thing that was wrong with your particular project It's just that you were trying to do things again and again and again, and you had too many instances of different names on there, and so it kept getting confused because it didn't know where to jump, and it had 2 of something, and the script is kind of in weird spots. So just make sure anytime you're adding action script that you're only on this actions layer. Lock that layer so you don't put any artwork on it, and you can tell when actions are on there because it has a little white A. So if you see any little white A's anywhere else, then go get rid of that script and you should be okay. So let's test this out. All right, so hopefully it should stop and wait for us, and now we should be able to click start, and it'll ask us what's our name. So I'll type in my name. And if for some reason letters were missing, especially capital letters, it just means that you haven't embedded this font. So make sure you've embedded every single version of every font that you use in this particular project. So toward that end, I would just use one font to keep it simple. So let's go to instructions. And so this is when it would return back to them their name. Let's see why that's not working. There's so many people shutting doors. I totally forgot to have my door shut. Sorry. So let's click here, and it's because see how this font is black, so let's change this to orange and see what happens with that and make it less massive, and let's try that out. Okay, start. There's my name, and then instructions. Yay, so it works. So the very first part of this now, it's just a matter of doing the drag and drop part.